I don't know. You just gotta guess. Sometimes you just gotta wake up in the morning and go and do it. Welcome to episode 3, Kyndl Health podcast. I'm Tanner. This is Kelly. We're a married couple doing hormone optimization in Colorado. One of these days we probably will get around to talking to hormones, but we wanted to make sure everybody knew who we were and why we're doing this. And so I think we have a little bit about that today, right?
Yeah. So we just kind of wanted to talk about why we named Kyndl Health Kyndl Health. It has a little bit of a different spelling, Kyndl. One of the very first things we had to do was figure out what we wanted to call the clinic.
That's the very first thing?
Right. Because, you got to get an LLC, you actually need the name to get going on things. And so, of course, we went through optimize, wellness, just all those standard names that then we would Google and be like, oh, there's already one of those. And so for days we were talking about just what could it be? Again, maximize, optimize, all those things. And then I don't remember, I think you maybe stumbled upon it at first, but
yeah, I think so. I wanted to name something that kind of represented, like a flame, like a growing passion or a growing something that is full of energy and full of, life. And so fire and flame was really kind of a theme that I was looking at.
Right. And so I have here pulled up on my phone the definition of Kyndl. And it's the verb is light or set on fire, arouse or inspire an emotion or feeling, and to become impassioned or excited. And that really stuck with us because, as we've talked about in our previous podcast, just the goal of really wanting to help people find themselves again and feel better and wake up and be inspired to be your best self. And so when we stumbled upon that, we were like, wow, that's great. And then, of course, we changed the spelling just a little bit.
To be trendy.
Right.
Modern and hip.
Yeah. So anyways, that's really where it comes from, is to ignite a flame or a passion or an excitement. And that's really what we're all about. That's what we want to do for people. And so it really stuck. And it is different, but it really has a great meaning behind it. So it felt right. Once we found it, It really felt right.
I like the concept of starting from something small, something dim and small, and you kindle it along and you make it better. And you I think that fits really well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so people ask us that a lot. So we figured we'd get that out there. And that's why
Kyndl Health.
Why Kyndl Health.
There you go.
It's because you got to have a name. And this one fits our process, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of going along with that and just the intention of why we named it that. And I know we've used that word a lot in our previous podcasts of just trying to be intentional in everything that we do. And I think growing into that mindset of intentional, it definitely has been work as far as mindset and kind of those cheesy motivational things that you think of. Like last year, I definitely didn't meet this goal, but I wanted to listen to one self-help / motivational audiobook a month. Yeah. I definitely cannot read self-help books.
Can they get a little repetitive?
I wouldn't be able to read it, but for sure, listening to it, just a kind of cool thing. Any really local library lets you have access to their online app. So I use Libby, and they're free. Mm-hmm. So you can easily check out audiobooks for free on the Libby app. And that's where I go to every time I hear about a book or anything. I just stick it in my list of, self-help books.
Yeah.
So I did read some. I did not get through 12 last year, as there are 12 months in the year, but there are a few that really stuck with me that I wanted to mention. And one of them that we have both read or listened to in the past is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I won't do as great of a job of you as talking about who is Jocko Willink, because I actually hadn't heard of him until you kind of got into the jiu-jitsu world. So
so I mean, Jocko's well known, but he's
love it, everybody. Well, I didn't know him.
Yeah. So he's retired Navy SEAL, was big in the SEAL teams, and an officer, a leader in those groups, and if you can imagine, Navy SEALs, they take responsibilities very seriously, because, if you mess up, people die. And it's, similar in medicine, a little different because you die of natural things in medicine rather than, getting shot at. But so anyway, he's big in the SEAL teams, and he wrote this book, Extreme Ownership, that even if it is clearly, a weak member messed up, made a mistake, that it's still my fault because I didn't make sure that he had what he needed to not fail. And so owning those mistakes and owning every piece of the process, the good and the bad, not just taking credit for when things go well, but especially taking credit as a leader when things go poorly.
Yeah. So from our standpoint, thinking of things if a process doesn't quite go well, or if something falls through the crack, rather than trying to find blame, just really having that mindset of, wow, well, we're in charge of this, and what part of the process that we set up failed for this to not go as well as we wanted it to.
Yeah.
And to even try to not get emotional about it, because I tend to get emotional about it. I'm type A, and I want everything to go very well. And that's not how things go all the time. And so just taking a step back and say, gosh, how could I have done this better? How could I have set up the process better in order for things to have gone better? And it really helps say, oh gosh, I dropped the ball somewhere, right? And to just really take it from an objective standpoint and say, okay, like, we're the leaders in this, and something went wrong, so let's work on it.
Yeah. And you're right, and not getting emotional about things. And right now, early in our business formation stuff, it's pretty easy that it's our fault if something went wrong because we don't. It's just us,
Right.
But yeah, so that's one mindset I think that we've adopted kind of early on. Another one that I really like is is getting rid of limiting beliefs. I don't remember what book that's from, but we have an example of this. So your brain is really good at tricking you into thinking that the world is a certain way. It doesn't like not knowing, and so it will fill in gaps, and it will convince you that you've got a good grasp on the way the world works, what exists in the world, like you've got it all figured out. And your brain's really good at that, tricking you because it's wrong and you don't know everything. But these limiting beliefs that you hold are things that you're just convinced of, that it is this way, that, I don't know, for example, getting older, like, oh, getting older, you're just tired. That's just how it is, And our example is, for the longest time, when we bought this house, when we moved into this house, didn't have a dishwasher. And it's because our cabinets are a weird size and shape, and they're smaller. And we were convinced they just don't make dishwashers this size. So
there's not enough space.
Just not enough space for a dishwasher.
We can't have a dishwasher.
That's why they didn't put one in, and there's just not enough room here. So we lived here for years with no dishwasher. And I think I said that out loud again a couple of years. I said it was like, well, it's too bad they don't make dishwashers this size. And you must have been reading the book.
We were actually listening to it. I feel like we were listening to it together. So this is a Marie Forleo self-help book called Everything is Figureoutable.
Yeah.
And I was just getting so jazzed about it that I was like, Tanner, listen to this.
Yeah.
Like, listen to this part with me in the car.
And I said that out loud. I was like, they don't make dishwashers this size. Too bad. And you said,
well,
do they? Have we even looked?
right.
You know? And sure enough, they make plenty that are exactly that size.
Smaller dishwashers.
And so getting over that limiting, and our dishwashing setup has been amazing since. But getting over those biases that your brain definitely puts in your conscious, where you're like, I'm convinced that is this, and being able to break past that and saying, well, yeah, this seems like a problem, but it's figure outable, and ditching that limiting belief is really important.
It's so powerful. If you just take a step back and say, no, I think we can figure this out, right? We may have to get creative. We may have to obviously think outside the box, but there's a way to figure most things out.
Yeah.
You just got to turn that limiting belief off that your brain's telling you, no, you just can't do it. And then all of a sudden your mind kind of opens up to, oh, well, maybe there is a way, right? How can we figure this out? And it's just it's almost like it brings a little bit more challenge, but in a good way, to just say, oh, well, I think we could probably figure this out. There's got to be a way.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see this in the hospital too. And they actually, we learn about this a lot is the cognitive bias that your brain has, and being able to get past things like that, I think are really important. Not looking for confirmation bias where you've already picked an answer and you're just trying to prove that, or there's probably 50 other types of biases that I can't think of, but just being able to work through that, because your own enemy is going to be yourself a lot of the time. And being able to get around, get past yourself, get over yourself,
right,
and get a solution to where you're not struggling with a problem anymore.
Right. So the mind is just so powerful in that, setting up those limiting beliefs. And I did actually listen to that audiobook, Everything is Figure Outable, probably 3 times.
Yeah.
I think I could probably listen to it every 6 months, just to have those things in the forefront. And she just tells a really cool story of her journey. And one of her examples is she was struggling with her relationship, and they set up this trip, and then there was an issue with they almost missed the flight. And so then they weren't going to be able to get their luggage on the flight because they had to check it because it wasn't carry-on size. And she talks about how she basically bought new luggage at the airport, ditched half her stuff, fit it in the suitcase, and I mean, that's definitely going many steps on into everything is figure outable, but she got on that flight. In any case, it's a great listen.
Well, and that reminds me of the continuation bias, right? And we talk about this in our personal life all the time, that you make plans for things, and the human habit is to well, this is the plan. We're gonna stick with this, and failing to change the plan when conditions change is a big human mistake that I think that we make a lot. And keeping that adaptability, it's the number one reasons pilots crash airplanes in general aviation is because they're on a flight plan and they're headed here and there's weather coming and they don't turn around.
Right.
They don't change the plan and be like, you know what, we can't go there anymore. We're going to turn back and we're going to go back to the airport.
Yep.
And they crash and they die.
Yep.
And so that inability to change the plan is detrimental as well. And
right. Yeah, no, you've got to be able to pivot, and sometimes it's family plans and someone's maybe feeling sick and you're like, we really shouldn't go. Why are we trying to push doing this, changing trip plans but that is one thing that we've really tried to do. And sometimes it's a real bummer if you're going to miss out on something, but just really being a little bit more open and ready to pivot when something we really feel like we're trying to fit it in and it's not really fitting very well.
And it's hard to do, especially when it's something you've done 1,000 times before.
Right.
And you're like, well, we've done it, it's always worked the last 1,000 times we've done it. So, it's going to work this time too. And being able to have that flexible mind where you're like, maybe things are different this time. Maybe I'm different. Maybe conditions are different.
Right.
And being able to kind of adapt to something.
Right.
Yeah.
And pivot.
Yeah.
So one of the other things that has helped in just over this last year that this didn't necessarily come from a self-help book, but just really trying to practice gratitude and using that phrase of I get to rather than I have to.
Right.
Because that's another huge mind game that actually helps. And I won't say that I'm excellent at it all the time, but surely just to think of those, and it sounds kind of cheesy, but gosh, like I woke up this morning and I've got my arms and my legs and I've got, my coffee that I can swallow and I've got a job that I get to go to, and just really telling your mind, I get to do this. Other people maybe don't get to do this, whatever you're talking about that seems like a chore or seems difficult. And if you work on it enough, you can really change your mindset and get through some of those hard days much easier.
Yeah.
I mean, with at least a positive attitude, it really does help.
Yeah.
And even just the smiling, right?
Yeah.
You put a smile on your face and it does actually help. You're like, oh, wow, I think that changed my feelings just a little bit,
Yeah. I mean, this morning's a perfect example, right? So we still work in the hospital and I'm going away for more than a week to work in the hospital. And that's, that starts today. And so coming off of Christmas and everything where it's like, I wish I didn't have to go, but I get to go. And I need to use it as like, I get to help people and in a way that not a lot of people get to. And it, it changes your thinking about it. But when you're still in just the me part, you're like, I don't want to though, oh, it's going to be hard. I'm going to be away from my family and, things might get stressful, but keeping that gratitude really goes a long way.
It does.
It really goes a long way because it could always be worse. It could always be worse, even if you're, it could always be worse.
Right.
And being able to stay grateful and upbeat is the number one thing that's going to get you through it, really.
Right.
There's that survival phrase of, you can live 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food, but only 3 seconds without hope is kind of how that phrase goes. And so if you're ever in a survival situation, if you lose hope, if you lose that like motivation forward or well, I've still got this, then you're done. You're done at the very beginning. You're not gonna make it.
Yeah. And
I think that's true in our everyday life too. If you don't have something that pushes you forward, if you don't have that hope or that, that I'm doing this for this reason and
right. Yeah. So an example of how powerful your mind is to help you with that shift, I just saw it on Instagram the other day and it was like, okay, put your hand out and visualize that you've got a lemon in your hand, cut in half. You've got this lemon. And so now you're going to visualize it, so you're telling your mind that you've got a lemon in your hand and you're going to take a bite of it and it's going to be sour. And your mouth salivates a little bit. Yeah. Right? And you know that you don't have a lemon in your hand and that you didn't take a bite, but you can tell your brain you're going to take a bite of the lemon. And this is a physiologic, it's a physiologic response. And just that reminder of how powerful your mind is to create a physiologic response. It can go either way, right? If you're really stressed out and you're doubting yourself, that can really make an impact on things. And don't get me wrong, we just talked about all this mind stuff, things that we work on practicing. Yeah. And certainly it's very easy to fall into those traps of doubting yourself, especially us on this new journey with Kyndl Health. It's scary and it's new, and I can fall into that trap if I let myself. And then I circle back around and say, no, get your mind right, and visualize what it's like, what I want it to be like. Yeah. Those times when I'm doubting myself, and it really does help shift into, oh no, we can do this, right?
Yeah. Or when you get that message, like, I feel so much better.
Right.
You know? And it's like, you're like, yeah. You know, like
it all makes it worth it.
It makes it worth it.
It all makes it worth it. So that's just, I like that example because I was like, oh, dang, it really is true, right?
Yeah.
It's a physiologic response and practicing these little tiny things of being able to pivot, practicing gratitude, shifting just those tiny little words. Oh, I get to do this rather than I have to do this. And then having an open mind to say, I think we can figure this out. Is there something in my mind that's that's a limiting belief that says that we can't do this for some reason? Well, why can't we do this?
Yeah.
And then a lot of times we're like, well, I don't know. I don't know why we can't.
Just cause.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it before.
Right.
Or, you know, like.
Exactly.
It's all kinds of dumb, you come across dumb excuses.
Exactly.
When you really analyze them. And, you know, and also just doing things. You know, the imperfect action trumps planned, you know, a planned delay every single time. Like just build the ladder and get over the wall. Just
keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And then the one other thing that I also think that we have worked on practicing is never thinking of something as a failure, but always looking at something as a learning opportunity. And not that, you know, if something doesn't work out, that doesn't mean that you failed and it's over. It means, oh, let's learn from that and look at how we did things and let's pivot and do it a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And just, that's another whole mindset thing, right? That we've actually talked a lot about, that for our personalities are just a tad different, where worry of failure isn't quite as on the top of my mind as it is
refinement of the process rather than failure.
Yeah. And sometimes we've just recognized that, you know, sometimes what keeps you from maybe wanting to try to do something is that your mind goes to, what if I fail, potentially a little quicker than mine. Yeah. You're better at the action over perfection. I think that's where I struggle, is like making something happen because I want it to be good from the beginning. So I guess you could like really circle that all the way through to saying, well, that means that I am still nervous about failing.
We
but
have it both. I am more of a trigger puller. I'm like, okay, you know, once we've talked about it enough, it's like, okay, let's just do something.
Which is great.
Yeah, but you're right. The initial motivation to do something different comes from you, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
But in any case, just looking at things as learning opportunities, not failures. Because if you're moving forward, that is positive action. It's not failure, because you're moving forward and getting out of that comfort zone and working towards something or doing something that you've wanted to do.
Yeah.
So.
And it's slow. It's slow. It's not, it won't happen, you know, it won't happen overnight, even with hormones, like, and it doesn't happen overnight, but getting, like I said, getting yourself out of the way of barriers to feeling better and to working on yourself is really important. Right. And that mindset of changing the plan, right? Because you're changing, you're getting older, and like, you're not 20 anymore, and so the conditions are different. So change the plan. Like, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to work out and exercise more and I'll get back to you know, feeling great. Right. Which you feel better, but
well, and that's an amazing segue into just losing weight, the journey of losing weight. And a lot of people think that it has to be all or nothing. And it doesn't. Little changes, right? Yeah. Getting an extra 1,000 steps a day and spending 10 minutes walking instead of not 10 minutes walking. Just because you don't have an hour to go to the gym doesn't mean that 50 squats and 10 minutes of walking, you shouldn't do it, you know? And so not having that limiting belief of, oh, well, I can't lose weight if I don't have an hour 5 times a week to go to the gym, or I don't know how to lift weights, or I don't know how to, you know, cook some protein, or you can easily get set into that trap of, well, I can't change how I am because I don't know how to, or I don't have the time. Right. And it's like, well, turn that off, and say,
Limiting beliefs.
yeah, turn that limiting belief off. And if you have a desk job, well, set your alarm at the 55 and just sit down and stand up out of your chair 10 times.
Yeah.
And you have done more activity than you had the day before.
Right.
And,
And not giving up after a holiday. Christmas just came away. It's like, oh, I ate and drank too much. Well,
just
I guess
let myself go.
Yeah, I might as well just let myself go now because
Exactly.
I had one day where I indulged.
Right. But you're just getting right back on.
Get right back to it.
Get right back to it and just keep forward motion.
Yeah.
And it really can be impactful.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're coming up on January. Everybody's going to be all about mindset, resolutions, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Super important to just say, I'm going to go slow.
Right.
It's not all going to happen in January.
Yep.
Your first failure that happens probably January 3rd is not your, chance to quit and go back to old ways. But keep all those things in mind. The mindset matters. Your brain is trying to trick you, and all of those things.
Yeah.
And
so if you've got a favorite self-help audiobook, favorite kind of phrase or anything that you lead by that we hadn't mentioned, please drop it in the comments. I'm looking for more audiobooks because that's another one of my goals this year. One self-help book a month, audiobook. Just to keep that forward progress, right? So please share.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Kyndl Health linked in the comments as well. If you are in Colorado and are looking for a change, we'd be happy to help.
Reach out.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. See you next time, guys.